meant to be a genre now. Make it prog.
Hey monkeys, how you doing? Damian Keys here, and welcome to the hashtag Ask Damo show number 26. With me as always is Melissa.
Hello.
And this is the show where you, the musician and creative, get to ask questions, and I will do my best to answer them using my experience and knowledge.
Wisdom.
Knowledge! So today I am sponsoring the Dream Troll t-shirt. I just love these guys.
Yeah.
I love the fact that like they've got kind of like a kind of He-Man guy
Yeah,
on the front.
it's cool.
I'm just a fan. So I've decided I want to wear more and more of your t-shirts. I didn't get any t-shirts this week, but I haven't been here for a few weeks. I've been away.
You've been jetting, haven't you? How was Boston?
Boston was very, very good.
Yeah.
Boston was amazing. Then I came back, so I did Boston. I was in Boston for a week. Then I came back. Then I did a gig. Then I was in Manchester for a couple of days. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Met loads of great people
Sound
in
like you're
Manchester.
Crazy busy over there as
Then
well.
after Manchester, I came back. Then I did a gig in Nottingham. Then I was in Canterbury, and then I was in Crewe, and then I went and then I collapsed.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
No.
I literally collapsed.
Oh, don't
I collapsed and I hit my head on the floor.
Oh dear.
But I'm fine.
Are you taking it easy now?
Not really.
No.
I'm off to next week, New York.
Oh dear.
And also, I'm doing the Hard Rock Hell Awards ceremony, which is in Pwllheli, which is right in the corner of Wales.
I feel like you just need to spend a week just sleeping
Nah.
first.
I'll sleep when I'm dead, which at the moment might be sooner than we think. Good, so we've got some
We
questions?
have got some questions.
Good, okay, let's see how these
Alright.
questions go down.
This is the first one is from @thisisabsorb on Twitter. So
Love that
give them
love
a
that one.
follow.
Yeah, love it.
So they said, ask Damo, if you had a budget of £1,000 to promote a 6-track EP, what do you spend your money on?
Good question. Yeah, it is a very good question because £1,000 is a definable amount of money
Yeah.
that probably a lot of bands can.
Sort of pull together.
They can pull together, yeah, if there's enough of you in the band. So that is a very good question. However, I'm not going to sideswipe the answer. However, I am going to precede it with this, which is I talk to a lot of bands who are releasing albums, EPs, etc. And what they tend to do is they tend to wait until they've recorded the music and actually made the EP before they start promoting it. So if you think of it as I've made something, I haven't told a story, and then all of a sudden I've got this and I just say, buy our EP. We want you to buy our EP. Now, if you're spending £1,000 on saying buy this, then you want to be making a lot more than that. If it's cost you £1,000, £2,000, £3,000 to make it, that means you're looking at making money on this. So all of a sudden, we've got to make £2,000, £3,000, £4,000 just to make our money back. So what are we doing it for? When it comes to the story of leading this up to a point, when you say, I've got my EP, who wants to buy it? There's no backstory. That to me is a big mistake, because what you're actually doing is saying, this is finished. The story is finished. And I'm trying to get someone to buy in to the story where you actually tell a story by saying, and everyone lived happily ever after. People go, I don't know where we're at. I don't know what the story is. So I would say, first things first. I don't know where we're at for making the EP, but start the marketing before you've even started writing the music. That's what you need to do. This is all about providing value. This is not about us. This is about turning it around, and it's about the audience. That's the key bit of this entire channel. How can you provide enough value to the audience that they want to come with you on their journey, they want to follow you, they want to subscribe to you, and then they like you so much they want to be a part of it by buying your merch, and also they love the music so much that they want to actually buy the music, because they don't have to buy the music. What they can do is just listen to the music for free, because that's the world we live in. So therefore, we are looking at making this into a financial album or EP, probably.
Yeah.
In which case, or if we're using it as £1,000 loss leader, for example, and by loss leader, what I mean by that is we're spending £1,000 in order to promote the band, then I would think it's a weird thing, because we've spent a certain amount of money on making the music, then we're going to spend £1,000 on promoting the music. All of this, we could just advertise the Facebook page or the band. So going back to this question, which is, you've got £1,000 budget. I would spend it on creativity, because creativity and value are the things that are going to spread your message the most. So what you could do is you could just put £1,000 into Facebook advertising. I probably wouldn't do that. I would spend a certain amount of money on the pay-to-play algorithm on Facebook, which means that you're actually getting it to the audience that already like you. So if you've got an audience of 1,000 people and you're putting stuff out, then we live in a pay-to-play audience, a pay-to-play time with Facebook. So I'd be looking at actually pushing something out. But I'd be looking at what you're going to do to actually involve the audience. So will that be a great photo shoot, a great video that actually takes it past just listening to music? Because don't forget, Facebook doesn't really have an MP3 function. So if you're going to add music to Facebook, then you have to do it via SoundCloud or you have to do it via YouTube. If you do it via YouTube, people want to see visuals. So therefore, what are you going to do that's really going to capture the imagination of the audience? I would spend it, depending on if you've already done this, I would spend this on, bless you, I would spend this on a really strong video, or on the creativity to be able to make your own video. So for example, just having a good camera like this, you can be creative, you can make your own stuff. But it's very difficult to just buy attention without the creativity there in the first place. The music, the music has to be one part of the entire thing. Just to say, right, I've got the music, what I spend my £1,000 on means it's very, very difficult, because we're not really providing value. What we're saying is, I've done this, I want you to listen to it, how am I going to get that out there? Well, we do that by actually getting people into the whole story, the journey, the music, the whole thing. So if I had £1,000, I would look, for me personally, I would go onto your socials and I would be looking at the things that let you down the most, which is, first impression, is that photos? And by photos, having a great banner on Facebook, where in that you can actually say, new EP out, go and listen to it here. I would be looking at a really good video, because I think that's something that you can start to boost, or you can actually start to really get people to engage with it, and then use that to book some gigs, etc. So, and then I put a little bit into Facebook advertising. But I think the question really is a little bit broken in the way that I've got an EP, how do I sell it? It just makes it sound like we're going to say Facebook advertising, because you can do it, but what are we trying to achieve with that? I don't think we're going to get what we're going to achieve out of it. So for me, I would say, if you're at a point where and it happened this morning, this happens to me 2-3 times a day. Someone comes through and says, I've got this, how do I promote it? How do I sell it? And I'm like, well, I really don't want to tell you this, but you've kind of fucked it from the start, because you haven't started it. You haven't started at the right point. You've started at the end of the story. No one opens Harry Potter the book and starts reading from page 105. They start reading it from page 1. So you've got to be taking people on the journey. Now, if you've already done that and you're watching this and say, no, but Damo, we did that. We've been spending time, effort, money and creativity on telling people all about our story, and now we've got £1,000 to spend, then I would say, no, we're already doing that thing. We're going to use the music to build the audience, and then what we're going to do with £1,000 is we're going to use that to improve the product, improve the look of the band, improve the videos, improve the pictures, because what you're doing there is saying, we're going to do something that brings value to the crowd, and we've got £1,000 then on top of that to bring more value to the crowd. It doesn't quite add up to me.
Yeah, so it's all about just being creative in the way that you
bring
people in,
get
people excited about it.
Yeah, money does a lot of things, and what money will do is it will get you in front of eyes.
Yeah.
But you know, we get that. I saw something the other day where we see like 30,000 adverts a day, or 30,000 brands a day, something crazy like that. And obviously, that's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and so it's not. It can't just be just holding something up and saying this is who we are. It's got to actually bring enough value for someone to say, who is that? What do you do? I want to know more about this. So, and that's what the music's there to do. And there's so many things that you can do for free to promote it. You know, I am not seeing enough bands doing Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Like, we are creatives. Like, if you are a creative and you have the ability to create an emotion with your music, if I was a singer-songwriter or guitarist, or I was in a band with a singer-songwriter guitarist, I'd force them to do that 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I'd be like, grab your guitar, Facebook Live. It doesn't have to be this build-up like it's Wembley Stadium. It's like, what time is it now? It's like 1:45 in the afternoon when we're recording this. 2 o'clock, do it. What's the worst that's going to happen? Facebook Live doesn't have to be live. It was live, and it stays on your Facebook. So you don't have to think of it as this live gig. It can be that, but then it's going to stay there forever. So it's just another way of doing something really exciting that people like.
That's quite like low cost as well. If
Yeah.
you're on a budget. Yeah.
Yeah, I find a lot of the questions that we have is, I don't want to do all the kind of the layman legwork. How can I jump that?
Yeah.
And I think, well, you can, but what's the point?
Yeah.
Because the stuff that provides the most value to your audience is the legwork.
Yeah.
It is, if you are a musician, play for them. If you are a cool looking band, take pictures and show that off. If you've got a great song, make a video, get it on YouTube, and just spend hours and hours and hours distributing it to the right channels.
Yeah.
All of those, every single one of those is free. And it's just time consuming, and it's hard work, but it's not technically difficult. It's not, if I said to you, you've got 6 hours, I want that music video, which you've created for free on your iPhone, I want that on 40 different forums across the world. Everyone can do that if they want to. They can just start getting onto forums, talking to people and pushing their video out there. It's just boring and time consuming and not very exciting and rock and roll and romantic. It's the stuff that works.
Yeah.
It's distribution.
The hard graft. Okay, question 2.
Question 2.
This is from Quinn on Facebook. Will I increase my chances of building a fan base by being on as many platforms as possible?
No.
Question 3?
Yeah. No. And I think managing expectations when it comes to social media is something that I find myself doing more now than I've ever done before. As I'm starting to get companies coming to me asking for advice on social media, people really don't like it as well. People really don't like it when you just say, get rid of that platform.
Yeah.
You just say, your Instagram is shit, get rid of it. They look at you like, are you fucking mental? And I'm like, well, no, you if you're going to do it properly.
Yeah.
But if not, get rid of it. Unless it's like you are learning about it, so you're experimenting, you're seeing how it works. And I'm on a few platforms that I don't spread it around too much, because I'm just learning about it, so that if it does take off, I can tell the audience about it, or I can see if it's working. But if I was a company, I wouldn't do that. I would look at the ones that are going to bring value to my audience and the ones that my skill set sort of lends itself to. For example, if Damian Keys, the brand, was a business, I don't think I would do Instagram.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work for me.
Yeah.
It's not that it doesn't work for my audience. It absolutely works for my audience. It's just I'm shit at it.
Yeah.
I'm
the same with Twitter.
I'm not very good at it. I really want to be good for it. And I think I can bring value. And lots of people who follow my stuff on Instagram just like to see what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. But I feel like I can bring value on YouTube and Facebook. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with me saying, I'm not very good. I'm not creative, I'm not attractive, and I'm not talented. Those are 3 things that really, really help on Instagram. It's very instant, hence the Instagram. And the education side to it and storytelling, without those 3 things, I find hard to do.
Yeah.
On Instagram. So therefore, should you be on as many platforms? No. I think it's better to be on less platforms, and I think it's better to look after your audience. Now, if you've got a band of 4 people, there is definitely mileage in saying to your bass player, you're creative, you're really good at this sort of stuff, you take Instagram and you just sort out and smash Instagram, and you make our Instagram something special. And then the drummer's saying, well, I want to take Twitter. And then all of a sudden, we are actually managing the platform to a really, really good level, because we are looking after that audience. Then that, yes, I would say it's definitely worth it. But if you are not providing proper value on a platform, then all you're doing is you're dissecting your time into less amounts of time, and you're not giving enough value to the people who really want it. So if someone follows you on Facebook, Twitter, and your Instagram, so they already know who you are and they're following you on all 3, and you're trying to actually take one piece of of content and then put it onto 3 things. They're seeing it all over the place.
Yeah.
So Twitter is its own thing. Instagram is its own thing. Facebook is its own thing. YouTube is its own thing. If you don't treat it like that, and you're just saying, well, we need to be on all of these, so we'll just do our best. You're either going to do one of 2 things. You're either going to make shit substandard content, and it's going to be inconsistent because you haven't really got the time and the effort and the energy to be able to do it, or you're going to be taking a piece of content and just regurgitating it across all platforms.
Yeah.
Either way, your audience doesn't want to see that.
Yeah,
doesn't want to see that. So for me, if you can do it, if you're at a point now where you've got enough of you in the band and you're actually allocating platforms, which I think is a good idea. I think there's, someone came through yesterday on my Facebook and asked me a question is, have you got any advice for farming out social media? So I was like, yeah, don't do that. That was my advice. Yeah. Shall I farm out, or have you got any advice on who I can do it to? And I was like, yeah, my advice is don't do it at all. And they were like, yeah, but there's people who do this. So I was like, yeah, of course there are. There's people that will do anything. Is that the right thing to do? No, because your audience wants to talk to you. Now, when you're Radiohead, you can do that.
Yeah.
But now, when you're an unsigned band, it's not hard work.
Yeah.
You've got out of 1,000 people that will follow your Facebook page, 5 of them are going to engage. If you haven't got time for those 5 people to really look after them, don't do this. Just go and do something else, or just make this into something you just like to do because you want to make music for the sake of it. If you can't look after 20 to 30 people a week, then you shouldn't be in this game. Because that's what this is about. This is about really genuinely looking after people. And if you haven't got the time for that, I've got a business. I'm buying another business and I'm starting another business. I took 2 days out, paid for it myself, to drive from Brighton to Manchester, which took 6 hours. I booked out a venue, paid for it myself, and we sat there one-to-one with people in Manchester, helping them with their career. Then we stayed over, paid for the hotel. Then we did the same thing, paid for the venue. The same thing the next day. In the evening, we did a bit of a kind of Q&A session, and then drove home. That took another 5 hours. Didn't need to do any of that. But why did I do it? The reason is because I cannot tell you how much I value whoever is watching this the other side. And many of you, I know you by name, and some of you I don't know you by name, but I know you're there because I see the numbers. But I cannot tell you how much I value, but I want to show you. So if I happen to be going to Nottingham for the day, and I know there's 5 people in Nottingham, I'm going to take you for a cup of tea. Yeah. And this is a really interesting thing that we should talk about on a lot more on social media. Is one of the questions that cropped up the other day when I was on that Q&A was, if I want to get people to go from my, sign up to Facebook or sign up to Instagram, if I want to get people to sign up to my database and actually have email database, what do I have to do? And I'm like, you have to provide 10 times the value that it took to get someone to sign up to your Facebook. Yeah. I mean, we are talking I think there's we've just started with the database, which if you want to sign up for, this is what you're going to get. So in order to sign up to this database, so you've actually got an email database, we were talking the other day about what can we put out. Can we put out e-newsletter? I was like, no, fuck that. Give me the phone numbers. I'm going to ring you. And we're going to I'll come around to your house and we're going to have a cup of tea. That is the value for me on having someone say, I like you so much that I want you to stay in touch via email, because we're not talking about 20,000 on Facebook. We're talking about 20 people. Yeah. Like if I can do something on that platform, which is email, that I have never done before, but no one else will get, I will do that because the numbers are so small, and I want to look after you like you've never been looked after. So going back to this, if you are looking at bringing in a social media platform to be managed by someone else, give up. And when it comes to other platforms, concentrate on the ones that you can provide the most amount of value on. And if you're looking at this going, we're on there and we've got 30 people, but we're not providing value, don't do it. Yet. Do it later, but don't do it yet. Just concentrate on the 100 people that really love your shit. I mean, really love your shit. If you do that, the audience will grow.
Yeah, it's sort of go all out or not at all.
Yeah. But and it doesn't matter whether you're on 1 or 10 platforms, as long as you're providing value. And providing value doesn't mean you have to buy people's shit. Yeah. I follow Casey Neistat on YouTube because every day he puts out an amazing video and that brings me value. That's all I need. Do I follow him on Instagram? No, I don't give a shit. Do I follow him on Facebook? No, I don't give a shit. But he brings value on YouTube that I don't think he would provide me any value on Facebook, and he wouldn't provide me for my life any value on Instagram, but he does on YouTube. Then there's other people that, Gary Vaynerchuk, I think is the master of this. He provides so much value on YouTube and Facebook. Cannot stand his Instagram. Like, it drives me up the fucking wall. Every time it pops up, it's like Gary's put 20 stories on. I'm like, advert. I'm like, fucking hell, Gary, you're the master at this. Sort this shit out. I don't want your adverts in my face every 5 minutes. So everyone provides different value on different platforms. If you can't provide value, don't do it. If you can provide value, do it. Simple as that.
Okay. Cool. So question 3 is from Will via Facebook. And he's asked, what kind of content do you find has the best success rate? For example, photos, personal vlogs, or that kind of thing.
Okay, so it's a good question because everyone's different. Everyone's skill set is different, everyone's platforms are different, everyone's sound is different, and everyone's audience is different. And this is one thing, and this is why I like this question, is because not enough of you are using your insights button in Facebook, which I think I need to do a video about. But going into your Facebook, there's one button which is insights. As soon as you click it, then down the side, there's another one that says people. You click your insights, you click your people, and there's just a world of information there that you need to know. And so if your audience is 13 to 16-year-old girls, then it's very, very different content to if it's 14 to 19-year-old dudes. And if it's 30 to 40-year-old women who are in America, it's still going to be different to 30 to 40-year-old women who live in South Africa or UK. So this is why this question, what's really important is bands are not experimenting enough. What bands do is they go, we make the content we want to make and we put it out. And what I think you should do is I think you should be constantly experimenting, taking risks with your social media and having a look at the results and doing it a bunch of times, and then actually being able to sit down and say, we did this, and we did this, this works the best. Now, for me, I have to do 2 things. Number 1, I am committed to trying to put out content every single day. That's the commitment I'm trying to do, which brings value to you guys. But at the same point, my main thing is I build businesses, and so I'm responsible to not only the 25, 30 full-time people that work for me, but the other 150 to 200 people who are self-employed who work for me. So all of these things have to come into play. I've got meetings coming out my ears. I've literally just walked out of another meeting after meeting, then I come in and sit down, do this. After this, I'm straight off to another meeting. So I've also got to fit in content that's feasible for me to do. But when I look at my content, the thing that gets the most engagement is vlogs. That's the thing. Except I don't feel very comfortable with bringing cameras into a lot of my meetings. I think I'm just not in a position. I'm not as psychotic as Gary Vaynerchuk. So I just can't have a camera in my face at all the time because it makes me feel awkward, and I don't feel comfortable with having cameras when we have a meeting because there's personal stuff in there. It's just the way that I personally feel. But when I do the vlogs, I get the most amount of engagement. If I could really zone in on one piece of content that I could do that would bring you the most amount of value, would be summing it all up, so I'm being able to give you this kind of information whilst in my day-to-day life. I think I would get the most amount of build, the most amount of engagement, and I think the whole thing would feel like it was getting more and more momentum. But I have to be realistic. So I'm experimenting. So I've gone through phases. For people who've been on the journey for the last year and a bit, I've gone through standing against a wall talking, through to doing vlogs, through to doing this show. We've tried doing lots of different things, and then we monitor it and say, we tried that a couple of times, it didn't really work as well. Then we tried something else and it goes. And the other thing as well is, the reason why you experiment is because, for me, if you're getting 3 or 4 subscribers on YouTube a day, every single day, then you're doing something semi-right. But you're not Casey Neistat. You're not putting out a video and getting 150,000 subscribers in a day. So therefore, it can definitely be improved, because we know that there's people out there that started a year ago, people like Peter McKinnon or those sorts of guys, who started a year ago and are so good at it that they have 1 million subscribers within a year. So I am under no illusion that my content is amazing. So I'm constantly looking at ways to improve it. But what's really weird is every so often I'll do something and I'll get twice as much as my usual engagement, just for no reason, or for what I see as no reason. So the other day, I was running around, and Sarah said, "Oh, we need to do a video," and I was like, "Oh fuck, I haven't got time.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to talk about." And because I'd had a conversation with someone about age, I just went, stick the camera on, stand against the wall. I'll record something. I still had my jacket on. I was literally like, I have to go. Did a video. It was like 5 minutes. Recorded it, and got twice as many views and twice as much engagement as pretty much everything that I do.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to take. So that's why you experiment, because you might say something that people relate to. You might turn on a Facebook Live, you might play something, and something just magical might happen that someone just says, "Holy shit, have you seen this?" And it gets shared and turns viral, and you don't know. That's why you've got to constantly be putting stuff out there. And that's where this quality versus quantity thing is because you can't tell. You're not in charge of what goes viral. Everyone else is. So you're just trying to put stuff out there and get it liked and shared and other people to see and build your reach. So what's really important is not what does everyone else do, but what do you do and what can you learn from other people to bring into your game.
So it's sort of a lot of trial and error, and it
Yeah.
boils down to creativity again, I guess, as well, doesn't it?
And what you said there's really important, trial and error. And people worry too much about error.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's trial and error. I tried it didn't work. Try something else. It's not, error is not a fail. It's I tried it, that didn't work, let's try something else.
I think especially when you're building as well, because you're learning as you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything you do.
Yeah, and it's okay to be shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so number 4 is from Charlene via Instagram, and she asks, "What's the best way of doing market research for a new business? I know all the old-fashioned methods, but I'd really like to take advantage of social media to help me figure it out."
Good. So, and we were talking a little bit earlier about old-fashioned methods. So, best way of doing market research, and then in the question it says, "I know all the old-fashioned methods." You'd be surprised at how many of those old-fashioned methods are still the same thing. Because research is research. All we're doing is we're changing the vehicle, and social media is a very, very good vehicle for finding out about research because of the insights.
What would you describe as an old-fashioned method?
I think,
just for context.
I think proper old-fashioned method would literally be word of mouth, going around and asking people. And then from there, you get surveys, which nowadays you can do online. You get things, SurveyMonkey and that kind of stuff. But I mean, back in the day,
don't say it. It was a Wednesday.
It was a Wednesday. Back in the day, you'd walk into a shop and in Tesco's or Marks and Spencer's, and they'd have a clipboard and say, "Can I just ask you a few questions?" And off it goes. Then, as the internet came through, then or even nowadays, when you go and get some food, there's loads of TripAdvisor and those things where people can say, would you mind filling in this questionnaire? It's no different. I mean, we don't feel any different. Society today is no different to society 10, 20 years ago. The only thing that's changed is the vehicle that we're using to collate the information. What's really, really good though, is if you look at the back end of platforms like Facebook, it can really help you with your market research. And I think it's not utilized enough. And I think it's also quite surprising when you look into your market research whose emotions are triggered by what you do. And we talk a lot about bands, but if we're talking about businesses, I ask that question a lot. Tell me about your demographic. And the reason why is because I want to see if people have done their homework. And very, very, very few people have done it. When I say when I say to a band, "So who's your demographic?" they will always think about a gig. And they'll always go, "Oh, I mean, sort of 16 to 20-year-olds. So I'm like, as soon as people say that, I'm like, okay, that's your gigs. That's what you can visually see. So your brain is telling you. But that's who goes to gigs. So of course it's going to be that age group. So it's not the same as your demographic online. So all of a sudden 16 to 20-year-olds might be coming to see a gig, but you might find that your audience is 40-year-old housewives, or it might be 40-year-old comic book guy, or it might be 13 to 15-year-olds, except they're not allowed out to a gig because they're not old enough. So it's really, really important that you're not just visually looking and just going, I've got a gut instinct. What's really important is that you're actually putting the stuff out there and you're actually clarifying the statistics, which is what's really good about the back end of pretty much all of the social media. I mean, that's what they're all there to do. You are allowed into the back end. The fact that you're allowed in, I'm just surprised that people don't do it. I do on Facebook. I do it twice a week. Twice a week, I just go and check. And as my audience grows, it's almost sort of solidifying into one very obvious category, which is males between the age of 20 and 30, effectively. That's kind of my audience. Now, as it grows, the percentages don't change so much because more and more people are adding into that. So 1% here, 1% there, but I know my audience. So now, when I've got my audience, that's part of the research. If I'm going to go into the next stage of research, which is probably more this question of what do they want, then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go, well, if I'm going to target people, I'm going to target 20 to 30-year-old musicians who are male, because I know that's my demographic. So I need to appeal to my demographic, and therefore my research, if I'm doing a SurveyMonkey survey or something like that, I will be doing that to 20 to 30-year-old musicians. So where am I going to go? I'm going to go and hang out outside a music school, or I'm going to put a survey together, and I'm going to pinpoint that age group, and I'm going to advertise it to those people. So it's not so much that the research methods have changed. They're exactly the same for what you need to find out about your business or your band. What's changed is the ease of the vehicle to be able to do this. And as it's got easier, people have started doing it less. Isn't that really weird? Like, it's become easier and easier to find out all the information, and people just go, I don't need it anymore. And I'm like, why? This is the most important bit. So if you put together a competition that said you can win, I don't know, £100, £50, depends what your business is. I don't know the size of your business, but whatever it is, you can win something good, not a free download. No one gives a shit about that. Do something which is actually worth it. And then you put that competition out and say, all you've got to do is fill in this SurveyMonkey, and one person will get to win this £100, for example. And then what you do is you target your exact demographic that you want to target, because you know, because it's already in your insights. And then you push that out there, and the information comes back then can not just be about age or area or the stuff that you already get from Facebook. It can be something a lot more specific about your product, about your brand.
I was going to say as well, with like social media now, it's a lot easier probably to run competitions and that kind of thing. It's got to be easier to draw people in.
Absolutely. We are in such an amazing age for research. I mean, we are in the research age. I mean, when I was a kid, my parents bought me the Encyclopedia Britannica. And I was like, guess how many times I looked anything up in the Encyclopedia Britannica? I can count it on my elbow. But when it comes to social media, I'm researching all of the time, because I can get specifics. I'm learning all of the time.
Very accessible.
So every single piece of information in the world that's been thought of is in my pocket at all time. And every piece of or any piece of someone's thoughts or the way people think, I can get hold of on Twitter or on Facebook. I can find all of this sort of stuff. So why not use it? It's there, and it's completely free. So I think, number one, the fact that it's become very accessible and nobody uses it is crazy. And I think the people who will win are the people who are doing this stuff a couple of times, checking their insights a couple of times a week, but doing this market research regularly. Because I want to know. I'm constantly looking at how I can improve my stuff. Same thing with the businesses. What is the product that's working? How can I change it? How can I improve it? Well, gut instinct nowadays is a dangerous game when you can actually go and get the market research and find out for nothing. For nothing.
Everything's just a lot easier, really.
So the answer is, what's the best way? The best way is exactly the same thing as it used to be. It's just a lot easier. If I was going to say one strategy, I would find out the information that you want to get from the target audience that you want to get it from. I would do a Facebook competition, and I would say, guys, we want to improve our product, or we want to improve this thing. It's very, very simple. All we need from you is to fill out this survey so we can see that we're doing everything right and we're providing you value. And if you fill that in and send it to us, then we'll be so thankful that somebody out of all the people who does it will win blah. That's what I would do.
Wow. That's the answer.
Ta-da! Pa-ding! Good. So if you have a question, hashtag Ask Damo, and Twitter, Instagram, anywhere.
I'll find it.
More importantly, I want more shit for the wall. We've got so much space over here. I've got stuff like if you got CDs, if you got t-shirts, what you send them through. The address will be below. We want stuff so that we can promote your stuff. I wear this shit. I'll do Instagram pics. I'll put your details in. Send us the stuff. Let us help you with your distribution. As well as that, if you see any content that's gone out with any of my ugly face on it, just put hashtag 60minwin, and there's a chance you could either win a t-shirt, a Skype, which is half an hour. I've done 2 this morning, which is just a chance that you and I can have a half an hour chat, talk about your band, your brand, your socials, anything that you want to talk about. And if you can get to Brighton, we could even do face-to-face. So all you've got to do is hashtag 60minwin and either put t-shirt, Skype, face-to-face, and every week we'll pick 3 winners of each. 3 t-shirts, 3 Skypes, 3 face-to-face meetings. It's how I spend my time. So if I can help do that, hashtag us this. Otherwise, see you next week.
See you next week.
See you next week.